Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And Nate's apparently still bopping along to the intro.
It's a bop. I can't help it, Neil.
Well, if you like it, it's available.
Yeah, it's on iTunes.
No, not on iTunes. I haven't put anything on iTunes, actually, but it's on SoundCloud. It's on Bandcamp. It's on, I think, did I put it on Spotify yet? I don't think I put it on Spotify yet, but I'll probably work on that at some point. But we got people now that are on Number One Music, which is another site that I haven't listed on, and everyone's sending me fucking messages. Bring out more stuff, because we've had all the same stuff on there for like the past fucking 5 years. Because the band is, the guitar player died, and we sort of reformed and brought back some other players and stuff like that. And now we're just writing new music, and we got a whole bunch that we have to record. It's just a matter of coming up with the funds to do so. So that's where that's at, basically. But yeah, anyway, right away, and we're off to a coins.
Nice.
That shit.
Speaking of coins, I don't know if you see Mario and Sonic up behind me. They're my mascots.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Very nice. And that's the Mario coin noise that we hear. But anyways, you know what I do here, Nate. I talk to people about how they found their way out of whatever belief system they're once a part of. So I generally ask that the guest of honor, which would be you, to take us back to the early days when you were involved in something, and how those dominoes started falling that led you out of that belief system.
Sure. Yeah, it was quite a journey for me. I was raised in a Pentecostal household.
Okay.
Very, very religious family, very religious mother. We did the whole, service on Sunday, Bible study. There's a youth group on Thursday, choir. I was in the choir. I still remember all the words to Handel's Messiah, and I still love that song.
Cool.
It's still amazing.
It is. It's a great piece.
It is a great piece. Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but the background I chose for today is the up on a hill looking down on Vernon.
Oh, nice. I thought it was from Sound of Music, but yeah, it's still it still tracks.
I would have been like, the hills are alive.
We can do the karaoke later, Neil. But yeah, pretty religious family. My mother was married to an abusive, violent asshole who was my biological father. She left him when I was about 4 or 5, and promptly remarried another violent, abusive asshole. I don't know how the church seems to bring these people, attract these people, but they do. But yeah, so I was always a pretty literate kid. My mom had, she's got books and books and shelves of books. So she encouraged literacy from a pretty young age, and I was a big reader. So Victorian baby yeet.
I saw that. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, it's a joke, folks. Do not yeet your babies. Do not yeet your babies.
Yeah, no. Hey, Dave, been a long while. Been a while since I've seen you here, brother.
Hey, Dave.
Oh, so that's not good.
So yeah, I was always a big reader, and being so heavy into the church, obviously the Bible was number one on their reading list.
Of course.
So I think I first read it when I was maybe about 8 or 9 years old. And I remember being really scared by the stories in there, especially the story of Isaac, of Abraham and Isaac. And him being told to bring his son up the mountain and stab him in the heart for the glory of God, because he didn't, the smell of burnt pigeons and goats wasn't doing it for him anymore. So,
That's right.
Give me your kid. And I remember asking my mom, and I'm like, would you do this? Like, what if God told you to kill me? Would you do this? And she's like, oh, God wouldn't do that. I'm like, well, but he did.
He did once.
Yeah, but so what do you, like, if he did though, would you do it? And she never really gave me a straight answer, because as a parent, what are you going to tell you? You can't give them a straight answer, right? The straight answer doesn't make sense. And a lot of things in the Bible really stood out to me. Like even just being 8 or 9 years old. Another thing was the conquest of Canaan. I remember asking my mother. I remember asking the people at Sunday school. I remember asking the pastor. I'm like, well, why did they kill all these people? Like, they didn't do anything to the Israelites, right? They just lived there. So why do they deserve to die? And it's like, well, because God promised them that land. Well, couldn't they share? My mom's always telling me to share with my brothers. Couldn't they have just shared it? Like, why did they get to kill them all? Well, that's what God commanded. So anything that God commands is necessarily right. I'm like, okay, well, but then here it says, thou shalt not kill. So, well, no, that's a different thing, blah 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 blah.
Of course.
Right. And another one that sticks out from when I was about that age was asking my mom about thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. I remember asking her, I'm like, but I thought you said witches weren't real. And she says, well, they're not. I'm like, okay, well, then why is it in the Bible then? If God seems to think they're a threat, then why is it in the Bible that they should kill them?
Because he's the only one that's allowed to do magic. That's why.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's got. We'll have no James Randys, no David Copperfields, and the stall be burnt at the stake.
Well, so James Randi was a debunker, not a witcher. Well, he was a
stage magician, though. He did some stage magician stuff. Apparently, he was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of how it began for me, and I never really got like a straight answer from any of these church leaders. And just over the next few years, it was kind of a fall from being like everybody's favorite little, good Christian boy who read the Bible and, was always there for church. And then I became the kid that was asking too many questions, and I got kicked out of Sunday school. I was in the pastor's office all the time. Eventually they asked my parents not to bring me into Sunday school because I was being too disruptive. So,
really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that that bled into my family life as well, because, I was causing problems for them with their community. Right. And they wanted me to stop. They wanted me to believe. And I'm like, none of this makes any sense. Right. Like, why did God create Satan if he knew he would turn evil? How can a being that's pure good create something with the potential for evil? Well, he has free will. Yeah, but he still knew that what he was going to do. If he truly knows everything, why would he unleash that on humanity? Right. Like, and I was like fucking 10, man. Like, I was really, really young. But I never really got an answer. I figured, I probably never would. I used to do these little tests where I would like stick a pencil on the edge of a table, and I would just try to ask God to move it, and I would will him to move it. And I'd try to move it with my mind, or I'd just be like, if God's real, he's going to move this pencil.
Did he ever? No, of course not.
He never moved the pencil. No, he never did. But I actually had. Yes, I'm shocked. It's 30 years later. I still can't believe it. That pencil's still sitting there, Neil. It hasn't moved a muscle. It's got some cobwebs on it, though. But I actually had, like an epiphany moment when I was at a youth retreat. I think I was about 12 years old. And we were at a Pentecostal youth retreat. And I don't know if you know much about the Pentecostals, but they're the ones with they're speaking in tongues and all this crazy stuff that they do. So we were a room of us, young teens, tweens are in there, and we were being slayed in the spirit. Do you know what slayed in the spirit is?
Yeah, when you fall down on the ground or something like that. And
yeah. Basically, the form that it took there was that they had us all around the outside of the room with people behind you, like the old trust exercise where you fall back and someone catches you. And the youth minister would bop you on the forehead, and you'd be just overcome with the Holy Spirit, and you would fall down. And I remember being in that room and thinking, oh my God, it's finally here. Like, this is the moment. Like, I'm going to be filled with the Holy Spirit and I won't be able to stand. And like, this is it. This is how I'm going to know. So he's going around the room and he's bopping people, and they're all like, oh, I come over with a case of the vapors. I can't stand no more. And they're all falling down.
The
And he
vapors.
and he comes over to me and he bops me on the head, and I'm like, that didn't work. What happened? And he's like, okay, well, you get yourself in the moment, Nate, and you blah, blah, blah. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he did it again, and I'm like, this isn't where. And then it dawned on me, like in that moment, it dawned on me that you're all faking it. You're all faking it. None of you were like, this isn't real at all. And then it just like it all just came crumbling down. I'm like, this is all just made up. None of this is true. This is all fake. So yeah, that was like that was the moment for me where it seriously implanted a serious notion of doubt. More beyond, like, their seed was already there, but it went from being like an elm to a redwood, you know?
Okay, gotcha. Did you ask? Did you, like, after noticing that it wasn't working for you, but all these other people were apparently feeling the spirit or whatever the fuck? Did you ask any of them if they were faking it? Like, was this really happening to you, or were you just pulling everyone's leg? Or did you ask anyone that kind of thing?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, that was the first thing I did. I'm like, did you actually, did something come over you? Oh yeah, Nate. It was wonderful. I felt my spirit lift out of my body, and I couldn't stand anymore. And it's just the happiest I've ever been. You just must not believe. You must have never believed. You don't have enough faith. That was the answer I got from the church leaders, right? Is I didn't have enough faith. And I'm like, if I don't have enough faith, and like I was going to church 3-4 times a week, and I'm like 12 years old and I've read the Bible twice, and I don't have enough faith, like, what standard do you people have, right? Because most of the stuff I bring up, you guys have no idea, like, what's in there, right? And I'm bringing it up as a tween, and having to go fetch my Bible and show you and be like, see, it's right there, man. Like, why does it say that? Like, oh, well, get out the old bullshit shovel and
start piling it up in the corner.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that was my specific moment. Now, like the next couple of years was, I didn't really believe, but I had a lot of other problems going on that, whether I believed in gods or not really wasn't a huge priority for me.
Right.
I actually
what was going on with you.
Well, like I said, I had an abusive stepfather, and I wasn't really. I mean, the religion part was probably a part of it, but the fact that he was a narcissistic asshole was probably more of it. So I actually the breaking point was when he broke my collarbone, and I had to walk to the hospital because they thought I was faking it. They didn't think it was real. So,
wow.
Yeah. And then after that, my aunt, who is a social worker, wrote a letter to Child Services. Sorry, I ran away. I left and got on a bus and went to try to find my brother, who had already moved out. He was 3 years older than me. And they wanted to bring me back. And I'm like, I won't go back. And my aunt, who's a social worker, wrote a letter to Child Services, basically spilling the beans on everything.
Wow.
And that after that, like, she and my mom didn't talk till I was probably 20. Like, they didn't talk for like 5 years. So he had to go to anger management and, fix his broken head or whatever. But I was gone at 14 and I never went back. So that was it. But the final straw for me, as far as religious belief goes, was in 1996 when I read the book Darwin's Black Box. Mm-hmm. That's by a guy named Michael Behe. I don't know if you know who he is.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
so he was behind that whole intelligent design, creationism. Yep. I think he was in that court case down south where
the one where they were trying to get creationism taught in schools or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh shit! Yeah, I know the one. The name of it's not coming to the top of my head.
Yeah, I still have the book actually. Hold on, where is it? Right here. I still have the book. Oh, there goes the xenomorph. But yeah, that's the book. I still have it.
Yeah.
But I remember reading that and seeing those arguments that he had put forth.
Dover case. Thank you.
Yes, that's it.
Thanks, Chemo. That's the one.
Yes. And it was kind of like that moment when I was 12 and I'm like, wow, maybe, there is more to this. Maybe it's just that we got it wrong. And, maybe evolution isn't the whole story. Maybe science can't possibly explain everything.
Well, it's not the whole story, but there's no reason to insert any fucking deities in there. You don't get to whip out your God buddy and fill in the cracks with that shit, you fucking morons.
Absolutely. Like just because we can't explain it now doesn't mean that your God did it.
Xenomorphs are tough, by the way.
They are concentrated acid for blood. Yes. But so I read that book and I found it pretty convincing, like as a layperson, just 16-year-old kid reading it. So I'm like, wow, this is really fascinating. I wonder if there's a counter argument. I wonder if there's a rebuttal to this. And that led me to Richard Dawkins' book, The Blind Watchmaker. Yep. And if you've ever read The Blind Watchmaker,
I have.
Even though it was wrote, I think in the mid '80s, well before he wrote his book. It was still it was like he had looked into the future and saw these bad arguments that he was going to write and proactively rebutted them. Because I remember reading that book and I'm like, oh, scaffolding, okay. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, well, that does make sense. So there is an explanation. You just weren't smart enough to think of it, Mr. Behe. Okay.
Oh, no, he ignored it. He ignored it.
Yeah.
Basically, he did. It didn't fit his inner monologue, so he just ignored it all, right? Right. There's no way that an eye could have just popped out of existence. Well, an eye didn't just pop out of existence, right? There's still some benefit to be had from a cluster of light sensitive cells. So that's right. And there's still animals with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can still find them today in the darkest part of the ocean. So that's what kind of led me to Richard Dawkins. Yeah, but bacterial flagellum. Yeah, that was the first thing I saw. Yeah, it was like there's no way the irreducible complexity and the mousetrap analogy and all that.
It's all fucking horse shit.
Yeah, it is all horse shit. And there's perfectly good explanations, right?
Absolutely.
Evolution can borrow things from other body parts, which it absolutely does. There's examples of that, and the bacterial flagellum, it is a motor, but it's an incredibly inefficient one. It doesn't really work that well. It does work, but if it was truly engineered and designed, I would think that an omnipotent designer could do a hell of a better job.
Would have put an outboard fucking motor on us.
Yeah, right.
Something with a little bit more power instead of maybe getting you across a stream of goo or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, give me those RPMs, baby. So yeah, that was kind of my introduction to the new atheist movement. Was right in the mid to late 90s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I actually go ahead.
Which kind of atheists at the time did you follow? Because in the mid to late 90s, there wasn't, the internet was there, but it was still pretty young and finding its way, so to speak. There was no YouTube or anything like that. So how did you fall upon different specific atheists and stuff and what they were doing?
I basically would go to the library and I would try to find books by Richard Dawkins. I read Stephen Hawking's book, even though it's not, specifically atheist.
No, but he does bring up a God question in if you're talking about the one where what the fuck's the name of it now? Which one did you read?
It is I'm trying to remember it too, because it was really dry. I have to say, it was hard to read. A Brief History of Time, I think.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. I remember trying to read that and just being like, man, oh man, come on, just say it ain't real, say it ain't so, man. But the other, another guy that I was into a lot at the time was Noam Chomsky. Mikey.
Yeah.
Wow. So I was reading a lot of Chomsky at the time and thought myself just ever so smart because I was, ever so enlightened. And wasn't listening to what the media was telling me to think. And so, I guess that really helped with critical thinking and holding an opinion that wasn't what the mainstream would have you believe, and that always helped to reinforce it. But yeah, it was really the blind watchmaker that really cracked the walnut for me. And of course, later down the road, I got into reading Sam Harris. I started reading Christopher Hitchens.
Right.
Good old Hitch. Rest in peace, my beloved fellow bourbon fan, or Scotch fan, I guess he was. Was it Scotch?
Yeah, he liked his Scotch.
Yeah.
Single malt like me. Very much.
But yeah, so that was just reading that sort of literature. Really just kind of put more nails in the religious coffin for me. Again, like I really hadn't believed it since I was 12, but finally realizing that there were other people, other smart people, other talented, respected people with normal lives that actually thought the same way that I did really, really helped. It helped a lot. Yeah. And then I guess another thing that did it for me was I joined the Army when I was 17. Actually, just a few months after my 17th birthday, I joined the Army and was in for just almost 6 years. And I was over in Kosovo for 9 months. And again, I'm just like, if there is a God, why wouldn't he stop this? And Kosovo is just a tiny microcosm of all the other times that God could have stepped in, right? Like the Holocaust, the Rwandan genocide, all these other times. It's like, if
there's a list that he could have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it goes back thousands of years, right? So
you go back to like the Crusades and shit. He should have come down and go, whoa, what are you guys fucking doing?
Yeah, right.
Like slaughtering everyone in my name. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? No, he didn't.
Siege of Jerusalem, right? They just start murdering all the Jews. And you would think if they were his chosen people that, he'd come and be like,
Oh, well, they killed Christ, remember?
Go back to France. You do not belong here.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking apparent if you, whoops. Sorry, that's a misfire, guys. That was wrong of me. But you can drink anyways if you'd like to.
I don't mind if I do.
I just had it hovering over that because Mikey took off. Oh, he's back now. And just in case we had a coins thing go off, I was ready to go. So, but Mikey is back.
No problem. So yeah, I talk to my family, not much, but we do talk. And actually, my biological father passed away a few months ago, and he had found Jesus and turned his life around towards the end of his life, right? And he's apologizing through. He wrote me a letter, and I still haven't read it, but you get that line. I got the line from my mom. Why God forgave him? Why can't you? And I'm like, apologizing to your invisible friend doesn't make you square with me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the most insidious things about religion is it thinks that it can just absolve you of your moral culpability for your actions, right?
Yep, absolutely. Agreed 100%.
Yeah, and humanism is so much more of a moral system, so much better of a moral system because you are responsible for what you do and for how you treat other people. And atonement is done by good works and actually maybe apologizing to the person you wronged and changing your life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's another issue that I have with religion is this, the scapegoating and this transference of guilt. I find to be rather disgusting.
It is. It absolutely is. Because they've set it up now where they could fucking commit murder and they just have to go get forgiven.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I prayed to God for a bike, but I didn't get one, so I stole a bike and asked for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Best of both worlds, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. But I often wonder, like, if I hadn't been a part of such a if I hadn't been a part of a religion whose practices were so exaggerated, would I have found my way out? You know, if I was in like a more milquetoast religion,
Right. Right.
you know, I wonder about that. If I would have had the same reaction.
I mean, what religion would you consider to be more milquetoast? Maybe Jainism, but
Or, you know, like Methodist, the United Church, maybe.
but they still have the same biblical scriptures, regardless of how, you know, whether they're less active with it. It's still all there, and they can still use it as an excuse to do harm unto others and say, well, it's biblically okay, right? Like they used to do with slavery. Like they said, we can own people. It says that right in the Bible, we can own them.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's true. I just wonder if I would have had that epiphany if they hadn't bopped me on the forehead and then it didn't work and I didn't fall down. Because that was such a moment for me that like my life as a young child was kind of divided into the before that event and the after that event, when like I wasn't sure and then I was pretty sure that it wasn't made up. And most church leaders didn't have the time of day to actually sit down and talk to me. There was one guy who actually tried to sit me down several times. He's a great man. He passed away a couple of years ago, and I'm still friends with his son. But he was a great guy, and he would sit me down in his basement, and we would talk for hours about religion and what was in the Bible. And he was probably the only person who ever took, you know, a 10, 11, 12-year-old's question seriously. He actually tried, and he was kind about it too. He didn't judge. He was friendly. He was fair. He was wrong, but at least he tried, right? So there are
sure.
people out there. There are people out there, you know, who are well-intentioned. I just think, you know, if you're arriving at a completely different moral position than what's in your book, then why do you need the book?
Yeah, exactly. Because that book ain't going to steer you into a better moral position. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. Even like the New Testament isn't really that good. I had a conversation on one of the ACA shows. What was it? Truth Wanted. They had a gal on. Her name is God is Gray. She's a pretty popular YouTuber. And I had called in and I'd asked her about some of Jesus's bad advice. You know, turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Right. And she, you know, it's basically was saying that I don't take it to mean that. I take it to mean that don't take revenge. I'm like, okay, well, but it doesn't say don't take revenge. It says do not resist evil men. If someone slaps you, turn your cheek, let him slap the other cheek. If he tries to take your shirt, hand him your coat. She's like, so you'd think that means that we shouldn't resist evil at all? I'm like, yeah, that's what I think it means. That's what it says. So yeah, that's what I think it means, right?
Yeah, be a welcome mat so they can just wipe their feet on you.
Yeah, and that is spectacularly bad advice, right? Like we absolutely we need to stand up to bullies. That's, you know, if we had stood up to bullies in the events leading up to the Second World War, then it might not have ever happened. If Neville Chamberlain hadn't had his policy of appeasement, right? I think that there were orders in when Germany annexed the Sudetenland, there were orders that if there was any pushback from any of the Allied nations, that they were just going to get the hell out of there. But they didn't, because they were afraid of them. So, you know, turning the other cheek and not standing up to bullies is absolutely bad advice. And yeah, it's just sad. And she was a really nice person, and we had a pretty good conversation. But it's sad how decent people can just, they've got this cognitive dissonance so deeply ingrained in their brain that they go to something completely different, and then they're gonna die on that hill, right? It's about revenge. That's not what it says.
Fair enough. That's true. And David, hope you feel better. If the drugs are kicking in, knocking you on your ass, and get the hell out of here and get some rest, brother.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
The Two Sheds is actually a Monty Python reference.
Mm.
Yeah. Arthur Two Sheds Jackson. They've got this this orchestra guy on like a talk show, and they keep showing pictures of his sheds behind him. He's like, I want to talk about my bloody music. It's just a bloody nickname. One of my favorite skits. And Monty Python, like they were so ahead of their time as far as like subversive anti-theism. You know, like The Life of Brian was such a clever movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was a good one.
It's awesome. I love that flick.
I was still am a huge fan of the Monty Python stuff for sure. I think even some of the stuff that Terry Jones did afterwards with Handmade Films, like Time Bandits and Eric the Viking, and I think Handmade was behind the Adventures of Baron Munchausen too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Was that Michael Palin or was that Terry Gilliam?
I'm not entirely sure.
Terry Gilliam's the guy who did all the simple handmade cutout animes, and I think it was and then Michael Palin's the one who went on to he did like Jabberwocky, and he actually directed a few films. But those guys were amazing. Have you ever seen that interview on British television right after The Life of Brian was released? And they're on, it's kind of like a debate format, and they've got like a bishop on telling them that what they did was evil, and John Cleese's response is just absolutely priceless. If any of you guys haven't seen that, I highly recommend you check it out on YouTube.
Huh. So apparently Handmade Films was founded by Dennis O'Brien and George Harrison of the Beatles.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Because George Harrison, I think he actually put up some money for the Holy Grail, for Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Did he not? I think I remember hearing that like they weren't going to do the movie. And then George Harrison came and he's like, yeah, I'll put up the money. Go ahead.
Yeah, Handmade Films is a British film production and distribution company. Notable films from the studio include Monty Python's Life of Brian, Time Bandits, and With Nail and I. And many more films. The Long Good Friday. They even did Planet 51 in 2009.
Nice.
Yeah, lots of good ones.
Yeah, and those guys, that was actually a bit of an influence for me as well as a young person, especially The Life of Brian, and just, you know, how it's a tongue-in-cheek condemnation of some of the more ridiculous religious practices, right? Like, no one is to stone anyone until I blow this whistle. You understand? Even, I want to make this absolutely clear, even if they do say Jehovah.
Yeah, they start stoning him.
Gets pelted. Oh, man. Blessed are the cheesemakers. What? Speak up. Oh, it's so brilliant. I wonder how many people actually, I think a lot of people did see the subversive anti-religious message in that movie.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
But few people could have done it as well as Monty Python did, I think.
There was even subversive anti-religion stuff in the Holy Grail as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, they were so ahead of their time. We owe a lot to those brave gents.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, you can see behind me I've got like a laundry list of all the books that led me to not believe anymore. You got your Christopher Hitchens. Let's see. Another one that really hit me was Common Sense by Thomas Payne.
Oh yeah. I haven't read that one yet, but
it's so good. Such a great book. I actually funny story. My teenage daughter was kicked out of school when she was about 16 because she brought her bong to school. And I'm like,
already.
Yeah. And I'm like, why would you bring your bong? Like, bring a pipe, right? Like, maintain, man. Like, what were you thinking? So she got suspended.
One of these fucking things you could bring, right? A little fucking...
Yeah. Like, keep it on the down low, sister. Come on. So she got suspended. And I was like, okay, well, during your time off, instead of just getting stoned in your bedroom all the time, I want you to read this book, and I want you to write, like, it doesn't have to be fancy, just write something down and tell me what you thought of it. And she loved it so much. I'll show you. She ended up reading it, and she see all these notes here? Those are from her. She ended up putting in all these little notes, and she got a little highlighter out, right? Speaks of America. And all these parts that she liked, and I was like, I was so proud of her in that moment that it actually hit home for her the way that it hit home for me. It was really cool. Awesome. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So there's quite a lot of books led me that way. Like in those early teen years, it was, I was kind of ostracized a little bit, so reading kind of took me away, as it tends to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish. And this was this was before it was legalized in Canada. This was a couple of years before. Yeah, because she's 20 now, so. But yeah, that's it's funny how reading can take some people completely out of indoctrination. It's not even by reading necessarily religious texts. Like I said, reading Chomsky was a big influence for me in teaching me that maybe what I'm being told necessarily isn't the whole truth. It really taught me, don't necessarily focus on what they're saying. Focus on what they're trying to make you think. Right? What message are they trying to get into your head? And then it really all falls into place. At least it did.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Have you ever read any Chomsky?
No, I have not.
Oh, you definitely should. He's really hard to read. Like I had to sit there with a dictionary beside me the first time I read him, and I would have to reread paragraphs because I didn't know a lot of these words, right? But he is so fucking smart, man. Like, unbelievably smart. Yeah.
I'm aware of him and his work, but I haven't really taken much time to. I've had snippets here and there, but I haven't really read anything from start to finish.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. Not many. I don't know. Not many people that I know have actually sat there and read his stuff. Yes, Common Sense is amazing. Yeah, it was definitely one of my favorite writings. And that book, Common Sense, I don't remember how I got into it. I think it was just like grade 11 history or something like that, where it just got mentioned, and I was like, they mentioned the old story about how Washington read it out loud at Valley Forge. These are the times that try men's souls, the summer patriot, and the blah 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 blah. And I thought, wow, that is beautiful. I want to read that. So of course I go down to the library and check it out, and that got me into reading some other Enlightenment era philosophers too.
Cool.
I don't know that I made it through all of them. Some of it's pretty dry, right?
Yeah, that's true. Oh, there it is. Sorry, it's starting to get a little warm in here, so.
No worries.
Time to break out the fan.
Nietzsche was always a favorite of mine because he's struck me as a little bit of an asshole, like a sarcastic, cynical asshole, and I'm just like, that really resonates with me. I'm sorry, I don't know. Are we allowed to swear on the show?
Fuck, I don't know, man. We'll have to think about that.
It's too late. Well, if not, then your editor's got his work cut out for him.
There's no editing, dude. This is live.
Perfect. Even better. Awesome.
Well, yeah, no, you can swear. You can swear. As long as YouTube people, like YouTube suggestions always say, you should wait till you've been live for a few minutes before you start letting all this fucking bad words fly. But whatever. I don't care. Great.
I think I made it at least 5 or 6 minutes in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Before,
Yeah, something like
before
that.
we started dropping all the bombs and stuff like that. My buddy's got this great shirt. It's the characters from what the little round head dudes with the stick arms and stuff like that.
Bobbleheads?
No, not bobbleheads. It's a series of comics that are kind of funny, but fairly recent ones. Anyway, it's got the guy. He's dropping an F bomb. It says it's a bomb that has F on it.
Yeah, yeah.
As he's dropping it, he's like shit. Instead of saying fuck, it's hilarious.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Pretty cool.
Uh-oh. I hear people going on down there in the background.
Oh yeah, my husband's got some friends over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he announced that there a couple hours ago, and I'm like, you realize I'm talking to Neil at 5:00, right? He's like, oh yeah, we'll just go into the other room. I'm like, yeah, sure you will. Sure you will. That's there's another thing I didn't even mention that kind of led me away from religion was growing up being not straight, and seeing that the way that that people on the LGBTQ spectrum are treated,
Mm-hmm.
Even today, now that some churches are starting to come around. I was reading an article today about how some former Pentecostals, which was my family's flavor of lunacy, but there was a bunch of Pentecostals that showed up at a pride parade with these signs that are like, "We're sorry, we were, formerly Bible bashing bigots, and now we feel bad for it." And I kind of felt bad because I'm asking myself, like, am I an asshole if I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. You're still jerks to me. Like, I don't care if you've changed your mind. The repentance of a handful of you doesn't make up for the fact that the rest of you still believe some really backwards stuff for no good reason. I don't know. What do you think, Neil? Am I a jerk for not forgiving those people?
I think that's entirely up to you. I'm a some people think I'm an idiot, but I'm a very forgiving person. But I'll forgive you, right? If you do something and even if it's pretty harsh, I'll forgive you. But if it happens again, there's no forgiveness a second time, because clearly you can't or aren't willing to change your behavior. So
yeah.
If you do something and I think it's kind of shitty, I might be pissed at you for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. But most people will come and chat with me about it, and I'll say, all right, you're it's okay. It happens. Shit happens. People can be dicks sometimes and not realize it, or whatever the case is. So yeah, I'll forgive you. But if it happens again, that door gets shut and you ain't allowed to fucking even knock on it anymore. So
yeah,
that's just the way I am, though.
No, I agree with you. In the case of religion, I just think that they've done so much for so long that it is kind of kind of beyond redemption.
To you personally, or
no, not to me personally.
I don't like religion either, as you know, and I think
I got that.
I think I equate it to a fucking virus. But even people that are religious and they might say or do something stupid, and I'll say, well, listen, think about it. You were being a dick or whatever, or you're an asshole, or you hurt someone, and I don't want that shit to keep happening. But I can give you forgiveness for now. I don't be that person, and we'll get along just fine. But if it continues, and you just show no signs of any regret or any that you understood what I meant, then fuck you. The door's closed. Get out of here.
Yeah.
No more doobies for you.
No kidding. No kidding. How often do you engage with religious folks?
I don't go out of my way to do it. I've even had like my friend Dick Dawson, who lives up near where you are, by the way. He's asked me to do some debating stuff with him coming up in a little while. And I'm not really a debater. Like, I can do it, but sometimes my problem is there's so much shit in here that wants to come out, and it's getting that to come out in a form or fashion that's suitable for debate, or otherwise I just fly off the handle and I'm just like, well, fucking this and this and that, fucking, you know, and it can be non-productive or unproductive, we'll say. So
it would definitely be it would be entertaining though.
Yeah, I mean,
did you go through like an angry atheist phase?
No.
In your younger days? No,
not really.
I sure
not
did.
really. Because I was never really a full-on believer to begin with, and I think, you know what, I think we should get Mikey in here for this, because I think he should pop in and say it.
Let's get Mikey in here.
He's got a question.
I like Mike.
Too.
Let's get Mikey in here.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, look at that! And he just magically appears. What are you, God?
Oh. I heard my name. They call me Old Mikey Three Sheds.
Ooh, Mikey Three Sheds. I love it.
Whenever someone has something on their screen, I have to take part of it and make it my own. Isn't that right, Neil? Isn't that right?
Yes.
So
Neil, 604 sheds.
650. I always ask people this. What would you say to your previous theist self?
About what?
Considering where you are now, what would you tell them about the situation that they're in?
Stay in school. Don't party so much. That's literally the advice that I would give to 14-year-old me is, you know, don't take your newfound independence and just spend the next 3 years getting stoned and drunk, you know.
That's fair.
I wouldn't sell that to myself. I'd be going, keep it up, buddy.
Future Neil comes out of a portal and just hands past Neil a lighter, like, you're going to be looking for this.
Here, take one of these. It doesn't come into existence for a few more years, but you can get some use out of it now. Maybe you could invent it. Ah!
Yeah. Invisible aluminum.
And then the Neil show never happened because he was a quadrillionaire from making the first bomb.
You mean transparent aluminum?
Yeah, transparent aluminum. Yeah. I'm glad you picked up on that, Neil.
That's one of the better Star Trek movies of the original ones.
Invisible aluminum?
No, transparent aluminum.
Transparent aluminum, yeah.
And you know what's funny? They actually have it now.
That's a
thing. Yeah,
transparent aluminum is the thing.
Yeah.
I'll just be saying stuff. I'm gonna look it up.
Go ahead, look it up.
I'm looking
look it up, man.
A couple years ago, I looked it up, and if I remember correctly, they actually have a version of it. So,
Invisible aluminum deodorant?
No, it's not deodorant.
Oh, it's from Star Trek 4 when they go to they're trying to get some supplies for their little whale tank to bring the humpbacks back to the 23rd century.
Can I confess something to you guys?
Oh no, here it comes.
You've not seen it, have you?
I don't like Star Trek movies. I like the show. I like the showness of it. So like they're like, you want to check out the I was like, no, because Star Trek is a show to me and I like it to stay that way. Like if they came out, like if the actual Star Wars movies were broken down into shows, they probably wouldn't do so hot. Mandalorian excluded. But there's just something should be. The stories are so different. Like I need an episodic Trek as opposed to an epic Star Wars.
What about the second movie with Khan? That is a carry on from an original episode called Space Seed, I think it was called.
Yeah, Space Seed. Yep.
From the original Star Trek, where they first find Khan and all the people, and then they.
Not a big original Star Trek guy either.
Yeah, they find the Botany Bay.
William Shatner is weird to me, and everyone loves him, but he's really weird. I'm like, is he acting like that on purpose, or is this intentional?
No,
I think it's just him.
Fuck you, Randolph. Keep Tarantino away from Star Trek.
Oh no! It'd just be everybody with their feet off, their shoes off, just a bunch of feet close-ups. Keep it for the bedroom, Quentin.
Hey, Mikey, have you seen the series The Orville? that was done by Seth MacFarlane.
It's on my list.
Oh man, I just started watching it yesterday, and I've watched 7 episodes.
Nice.
What, Orville?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Orville.
You just started watching Orville?
I just started watching
Yeah,
Orville,
you
Neil.
just
Don't judge
started
me,
watching
okay?
it?
I just
Oh,
started
man.
watching it, yes.
I saw
Holy
all
fuck.
episodes of it.
Yeah. Well, it's because I'm like one of those people, like, I don't want to watch a show until I can watch the whole thing. Like, I didn't watch Game of Thrones until it was finished. I didn't watch Breaking Bad until it was finished. Because
I'm
I
right
don't,
there with you.
you know, like, I don't want to
I'm a
have to
binger.
wait. Yeah, I'm not waiting 5 months. Hi, Phoebe. I'm not waiting 5 months for more
Hi,
content, you know?
And I planned my Game of Thrones experience perfectly because I heard that the last season was, or eight was going to be the last of it. I was like, how many episodes is it? I mean, if I start now and they're coming out week, but I literally binged, and then like the last episode, I was just caught up to it. So I just coasted across the finish line to perfection. I was like, yes. I was like, I'm so mad. I waited all that time and such time. I was like, don't have those problems. I didn't wait for shit.
That is amazing.
It was nice.
Lucky.
I might have had to wait like a week,
Nice.
but I wait a week.
That's nice. Yeah, I've always preferred Star Trek to Star Wars because I like that. I like that vision of like a future where humanity has outgrown all this childish shit, you know, and like there's no money, there's no capitalism, there's no racism, there's no sexism. Like we've just let all that go, and now we're just you know, leaders in our community.
Yeah. And what was it? I think it's a Next Generation episode where people had paid all this money to cryo freeze themselves. And
Yes.
then they found them and they defrosted them. Was like, oh, I need to get to a newspaper. I need to call my broker. And then he's like, yeah, money's gone.
I watched that one not too long ago. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
I need to see how my stocks are doing. See, how's the Dow Jones Industrial Average doing there, Captain? I'm gonna buy myself a ship, see, and sail off to Neptune.
I'm gonna. And the guy was just so desperate to put out a phone call, and he was like, "To who?
Yeah,
all your people are gone 1,000 years ago. Who are you calling?"
And then there's that one country boy who just like he just gets right into it, and he's like, "Oh, y'all got whiskey? Y'all got free whiskey? Well, hell!"
Yes, he's like, "Replicator, can it make whiskey?" Oh, no more questions, Your Honor. He was cool.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, we good.
I don't care where I was supposed to be, but this is where I should have been all along.
Yeah.
I've died and literally gone to whiskey heaven.
Money will become illegal the day after I win the lottery.
Yeah. Ain't that the way it goes, though?
Yeah.
I didn't know Chuck was my shoes money.
Oh, Phoebe's feeling. Oh, by the way, Phoebe will be a guest on my show actually coming up in June. So
nice.
We're going at a special time because she's all the way over in England. So we're gonna be going at noon on that one, which is Saturday, June 12th, guys. So we'll be on at noon for that one.
Cool.
Just FYI.
Cool.
I'll be like 3 drinks in by then. Oh wait, I'll be at work. I'll be like 2 drinks in by then.
Yeah, you won't be able to do that show with me, will you?
Nah. Oh, what day is it on?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. I mean,
Saturday, June 12th at noon.
Could happen, but they're not really fond of me not working Saturdays. Oh, I have a workplace injury story to tell everybody, but I'll save it. Ooh, as a teaser for the after show.
Okay.
I went
to the hospital to get my boo-boo looked at.
Oh.
Retro.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Easy there, Scooby. Oh, yoinks!
Oh, and since you're a huge reader, what's like 3 books that you would offer to old you to read?
To old me?
Mm-hmm. Or
3
for
books?
anyone who's on the fence or not sure or anything like that, what's 3 books that they should dip into?
For people who are on the fence,
Yeah.
I would recommend The Greatest Show on Earth by Richard Dawkins, even though he's proven himself to be a bit of an asshole lately. His work is still amazing. Hi, Phoebe. His work is still amazing. Yep. I would recommend Noam Chomsky's Manufacturing Consent. And I would recommend my favorite novel, 1984.
George Orwell.
Yeah. I've read that book probably 20, 25 times. And each time I read it, I come away with a different theory as to what was actually happening. I'm currently sticking with the theory that there was no actual war. There was no Oceania, East Asia, and Eurasia. It was all just a one world government. And they just kept bombing its citizens to keep the charade going.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just saw that in the show. Oh, never mind. I almost spoiled something. Ooh, that would. Never mind. I didn't say anything about a movie that just came out. My bad.
I thought you were saying 1984. I'm like, I don't think you can spoil an 80-year-old book, Mike. I think you're safe.
No, I don't know, man. Because someone spoiled the little fucking Wizard of Oz for me. That was the worst.
Okay, I gotta know.
It's a joke. Don't look too deep into it. Just a throwaway joke from a throwaway man.
That's okay, Phoebe. I've been doing it for years.
Oh, and if you want to see something cool, look, this right here. This is the first edition of Manufacturing Consent.
Wow.
Actual first edition. And the funny thing is I got that book in, I think, 1995, and it was written in the late 80s. So for some reason, that book was sitting in some Canadian bookstore for like 6 years unpurchased until I walked in there and bought it. Yeah, because I looked up the ISBN and I looked up what the first edition actually looks like, and it's a first edition, first print. Couldn't believe it.
That's pretty cool.
It was probably Larry's day to fucking stock the shelves. You know, Larry is lazy as shit. So probably sat in the back for like a good 6 years, and Larry's like, I'm gonna get it as soon as I'm done with my break.
Or maybe he stuck it in with like the teen fiction section or something where it just collected dust for 10 years.
Manufacturing. That's not Harry Potter.
Yeah. There's no sexy teens in that book. Get out of here.
There's no shirtless werewolf boys in here.
Yeah.
Twilight. I've never read or seen any of that fucking garbage.
Everyone tells me that the Robert Pattinson, who's going to be the new Batman, is like, oh, he's real good in Twilight. I was like, you almost tried to trick me into watching Twilight, didn't you? Not today.
Smarter.
You got to try harder than that. I'm not watching Twilight just so I can see this guy's acting chops. I'm just gonna rip him apart when the movie comes out like everybody else.
Especially to read it. Like, there's so much better literature out there to read. Like, why would you read that trash?
Yeah, why not go to the good stuff that Anne Rice did, like the Interview with the Vampire, Memnoch the Devil, that kind of shit. Go back and read all that stuff.
I'm a big fan of the Anne Rice Vampire Chronicles.
Me too.
I don't have it in here. I think it's in my closet in my office. I found at the used bookstore a couple of years ago an annotated giant coffee table size Sherlock Holmes. And if you're just like bored, and he's like, I don't really feel like watching. Fucking sit back, put a pillow under that bad boy. It's nice having big pages. I felt like a little kid again, sitting in the library.
Is it large print too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it'll be good for when you're old and feeble and you need that, right? And you can just sit with your microphone.
Yeah. I almost said binoculars, but I think magnifying glass is the right word. So I'm glad you went first. Maybe eventually
I got a monocular.
No, that's
do you actually have a monocle?
I'm about to say that's just so he looks fancy at parties.
Oh wow! Is that to look at buds, Neil?
To look at? Well, yeah, I guess you could do that. Sure.
He's inspecting them. Not nearly enough hairs for me.
Even has a fancy schmancy little fucking thing you can clean it with.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a piece of shit, dude.
Still
Oh yeah,
pretty cool.
finally a coins. Yeah, it's fun. It's a cute little one. I have another one somewhere too. That's even better.
Can you hand me those? But I.
All right. So I think what we're chatting about now, fellas, we could do in an after party. So I think we should get into that.
I'm sorry if we ran a bit short there.
No, we're it's an hour now. And it's, towards the end, we always kind of talk about some random stuff towards the end. And I always point that out in the description box. By the way, guys, if you liked Nate's conversation with us tonight, you can follow him on Facebook. There is a link that you can find him there as well. And also, because you don't have a YouTube channel, do you?
I do not, but I am a recently minted regular host of the Atheist Community of Austin show Secular Sexuality. I was on just this past Thursday, and June 3rd is going to be my first show in the host chair, and we are going to be interviewing a sexual shaman and embodied spirit. So this is going to be a really interesting show. I don't know how I'm going to approach this. I'm real I haven't come up with it yet. I'm really kind of like she seems like a really nice person, so I don't want to come at her too hard. But oh my god, what the hell is that, Mikey? Dude,
this is great,
dude. Are you like the father from Back to the Future, hanging out in the tree?
Those Bushnell?
These are. What is these? What is you? These is nothing.
Holy.
They're awesome though. They're astronomy binoculars.
Oh.
I don't see a brand on it anywhere. So probably crap. But they're awesome. I got to see the rings of Saturn.
Nice.
Badass.
Very cool.
But yeah, folks, you can catch me on Secular Sexuality, and hopefully they're talking about getting me on some of the other ACA shows here coming up. But yeah, June 3rd will be my first show. I'm going to be on with Rudy B. It'll be my first time on with Rudy, who I'm a big fan of, so it's going to be awesome.
Rudy's great.
Tune in.
Rudy's great.
Rudy's
yeah, I really like them. I don't know them very well yet, but what I know of them, I like.
Yeah, you'll get to know them pretty good. I mean, I met them back at Faithless Forum for the first time and didn't realize who they were at the time. Mind you, they weren't really a big thing at that point. They just they were, at Faithless Forum like everyone else as a visitor. Mm-hmm. And they eventually got involved with the ACA and became one of the hosts. I've worked with them on the nonprofits, of course.
Yep.
And I gave them a sticker, one of my stickers, way back. And they put it on their shirt and wore it on the shirt for the entire time there, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I was pretty unknown at that time, though. So.
Yeah, well, that's okay. It's not about who you know. It's about what you do.
That's true.
And this is all on YouTube. So once you get your 1 million followers, people can all go back and look at all this old footage, and they'll be like, Neil, Nate, and Mickey. Who's old Mickey? Who's that guy?
Yeah, he loves it when people call him Mickey.
You bastard.
Anyway, Rudy's awesome. But we're gonna do that, guys. We're gonna get into an after party. There is a link to the after party below in the description box if you want to hang out in the chat and shoot the shit. And I do monitor the chat from time to time, so if you guys have any questions for us while you're hanging out, I will do my best to get them asked. Also, Nate, thank you, man, for joining me and being my guest today. It was great having you on finally.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Neil.
Well, we're almost neighbors, so it was going to happen eventually.
One would think, yeah. One would think.
And we'll be hanging out in no time, by the way, because I'll make my way up that way to see my dad up in Summerland. So my biological father up in Summerland. So, and we'll get together. I mean, Courtney's up there. Godless Mom's up there. Janice Selby, who does the court thing, the Conference of Religious Trauma.
Yeah, we had her on
Dawson.
Secular Sexuality 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was on with her. It was a great show. Yeah.
And of course, Randolph and Dave and Quiet Gorilla, we're all BCers, and we will eventually get together and do some stuff.
And then Mikey will live up there too, as he slowly but surely whittles away at his girl's heartstrings, because if she loves me, she'll let me move her to Canada.
It's fun here, man. We got it great up here.
But she must not love me because she wants to stay in dangerous America.
We don't get the snow that they get out east. We get a little bit here from time to time.
Only a little bit.
It's
Mountains.
spring and summer here. Might as well be in California.
Oh yeah. We have long summer, short winters.
Yeah. There's quite a bit of rain though in the fall, so it is a rainforest. Don't forget that. So it's a lot like Seattle, Portland, that kind of thing. Anyway, just rambling on about fucking random nothing. So let's just get the fuck out of here and get into an after party. Yes, and don't forget that Randolph and I are starting up our own call-in show called True North Talk. So head over to the channel. It is already there on YouTube. And give us a sub there so you don't miss our launch. Fucking zero. Shut up!
Sorry.
That's all right. Floofs are forgiven always. Yeah, that's right. You can watch myself and other great hosts on the relaunched Nonprofits, which airs at 3 p.m. Central Time between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience. And by the way, guys, before I get into this one, don't forget that tomorrow is launch day for Skeptic Generation, which is Eric Murphy and V. LaBianca's show that is coming up tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Central Time, which is 9:30 a.m. my time, and I will be calling the show. So definitely check it out and wait to hear my phone call, because I'm gonna phone in and razz the shit out of them. So should be a lot of fun. Eric and V and myself are pretty good friends. We've known each other for quite some time. I actually got to meet Eric in person, hang out with him, and it was very, very cool. Anyway, so their first show goes tomorrow, so definitely check that out. And if you haven't subbed to their channel yet, it is Skeptic Generation, so go over there and give them a sub as well. Yes, and next up, of course, the last Saturday, which will be next Saturday, guys. The last Saturday of every month, about 2 p.m. Pacific time, you can watch Andy, Seamus, and myself on Atheist Drinking Out Loud, which goes over on Andy's channel called Laughing in Disbelief. And you never know when I might come knocking on your DMs or private messages to say, hey, you want to join us for an episode? Because it's a lot of fun. And this coming Saturday, we have Bionic Dance with us. So tune in for that. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah, and I guess that's about it. Oh, my amazing patrons. I got to thank my patrons, because the patrons, you guys kick ass, and I appreciate everything that you do to help the show. So big hearts for you guys, and thank you for everything. All right, guys, we're going to get into the after party now. So I just want to say thanks also to everyone in the chat who is hanging out with us.
You buggers.
Yes, that is correct, Phoebe. It is nonprofits. Yes.
The 9 prophets.
Yeah, and yes, the patrons are the best. Yes. All right, so no more reading the chat, Neil. Ignore the chat, Neil, until we get into the after party. All right, that's what we're going to do, guys. So come and hang out with us, or if you're interested in joining us, give Mikey a ping, or or myself on either Facebook or fuck you, X. I just noticed that. Yeah, X will be going live with the Utah Cast. If you guys do want to go hang out with X, that's fine too. He's got a great show.
Go report his channel.
Go tell him. We're just kidding. Anyway,
don't do it.
Like I always say at the end of these, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks, everyone.